If you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting. This simple truth applies to every area of your life. If your life isn't working the way you want it to, the answer isn't in wishing for better circumstances or waiting for a change to magically happen. The answer lies in the choices you're making and how you respond to them. Too many people spend their time blaming circumstances, other people, or even their past for why they're stuck. But the reality is the power to change your life has always been in your hands. It's about recognizing the patterns, decisions, and habits that aren't serving you. It's about taking ownership of where you are and choosing to take action today. This video will show you exactly what's holding you back and how to break free. It's time to stop waiting for the right moment and start making the necessary changes now. By the end, you'll have a clear roadmap to fix what's not working in your life and take control of your future. Are you ready to take that first step? Let's get started. Number 1, stop blaming circumstances and take responsibility for your life. There is a profound truth in the fact that we are the ones who shape the lives we lead. It's easy to point fingers at the world around us, blaming our failures on the economy, the people in our lives, the situations we find ourselves in, or even the lack of opportunity. But here's something to remember. Your life isn't working because you're not taking responsibility for it. It's as simple as that. The first step toward changing your life, fixing what isn't working, and creating a life that you want is realizing that you are the one in control. It doesn't matter where you come from, what's happened in your past, or what challenges you face today. The moment you decide to stop blaming and start taking responsibility, that's when everything begins to shift. Responsibility isn't about guilt, it's about power. When you accept that you are the one who determines the direction of your life, you take back the control that others or circumstances have taken from you. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you caught yourself saying, "If only I had this," or "If only I had that"? We tend to justify our lack of progress with excuses like, "I don't have enough money," or "I didn't get the right break." These excuses seem valid on the surface, but deep down we know the truth. Excuses keep us stuck. No one else is coming to rescue you. There's no one out there who's going to fix your life, hand you success, or make you happy. Success, happiness, and fulfillment are all things you must claim for yourself. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that someone else, whether it's your boss, your family, or the government, is to blame for where you are. But blaming others is disempowering. It takes the power out of your hands and places it in someone else's. And the truth is, that's not how you fix your life. The only way to fix your life is to put the power back where it belongs, in your own hands. Now, I'm not saying that life is always fair. It's not. There will be times when things won't go your way, when life throws you curveballs, when things seem impossible. But that's the reality of life. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to let those challenges define you and hold you back? Or are you going to take responsibility, rise above, and move forward? Let's look at what happens when you take full responsibility for your life. You stop playing the victim. You stop blaming the economy for your financial situation or your upbringing for your habits and behaviors. Instead, you start looking at the things you can control. You begin to see that your actions, your thoughts, and your decisions are what determine your future. You start making choices that move you toward your goals, not away from them. Taking responsibility means acknowledging that your life, your happiness, and your success are in your hands. It means you stop waiting for someone else to make things happen for you. It means you stop relying on luck or hoping that someday things will magically improve. No, you take action. You take the steps necessary to change your circumstances. You stop letting excuses dictate your life and start taking purposeful, focused action that moves you forward. You see, when you take responsibility for your life, you stop feeling powerless. When you blame others or external circumstances, you give up your power. You tell yourself that there's nothing you can do about your situation, and that keeps you stuck. But when you take responsibility, you recognize that you have the ability to change your life. You realize that it's up to you to make the changes needed to create a life that works. taking responsibility also means owning up to your mistakes. Now, this is a tough one for many of us. It's easy to point fingers, to blame others, or even to blame our past for where we are today. But the truth is, when you blame someone else, you give them control. You give them the power to determine your life. The moment you own your mistakes, you take that power back. You stop making excuses, and instead you focus on what you can do next. Don't get me wrong, taking responsibility doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you're always going to make the right decisions. We all make mistakes. But when you take responsibility, you learn from those mistakes. You see them as lessons, not failures. You acknowledge them, learn from them, and then move forward. You don't dwell on the past. You focus on what you can do today, in this moment, to improve your life. A powerful shift happens when you stop blaming others and start taking responsibility. It's a shift from being reactive to being proactive. When you blame, you react to life. You wait for things to happen to you. You allow circumstances and people to dictate your life. But when you take responsibility, you stop reacting and you start creating. You take charge of your life and make things happen. You become the creator of your own future. So how do you start taking responsibility for your life? It begins with a shift in mindset. You have to stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a creator. Every decision you make, every action you take has an impact on the direction of your life. You have the power to change things, but you have to believe that you do. You have to accept that no one is coming to save you. It's up to you to take the reins and guide your life in the direction you want it to go. Taking responsibility also means taking ownership of your time. Time is one of the most precious resources we have, and we waste it by complaining, making excuses, and blaming others for where we are. When you take responsibility, you value your time and use it wisely. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter and start investing time in things that move you forward. Taking responsibility means taking care of yourself, physically, mentally, and emotionally. You can't expect your life to improve if you're not taking care of yourself. You can't expect success if you're not willing to put in the effort to grow and develop. You can't blame others for your health, your mindset, or your emotions. You have to take responsibility for your well-being. You have to take action to improve yourself. Finally, taking responsibility means letting go of excuses. Excuses are the greatest barrier to success. They are the stories we tell ourselves to justify why we haven't done what we know we need to do. But let me tell you something, excuses won't get you anywhere. They keep you stuck in the same place. They keep you from moving forward. The moment you let go of excuses, you free yourself to move forward and make real progress. So stop blaming others, stop making excuses, and take responsibility for your life. Own your decisions, own your actions, and own your future. When you do, everything changes. You stop waiting for someone else to fix your life, and you start taking control of it. You stop playing the victim, and you become the hero of your own story. The power is in your hands. Take it and create the life you've always wanted. You're the author. Imagine this. You are the best author you have. Number 2, face your weaknesses head on and work on them daily. When you take a moment to look at your life, it's important to face one undeniable truth. We all have weaknesses. Whether it's something you're fully aware of or something you've tried to push to the back of your mind, weaknesses are there, and they need to be addressed. Ignoring them doesn't help you grow. In fact, it keeps you stuck. The longer you avoid them, the more power they have over you. But when you face them head on, you take control, and that's where the magic happens. Facing your weaknesses isn't about shame or guilt. It's not about beating yourself up or feeling inadequate. It's about acknowledging that you're human. You're not perfect, and that's okay. But it's also about accepting the fact that your weaknesses are holding you back. They are limiting you from being the person you want to become and achieving what you want in life. And if you don't confront them, they'll continue to define you, to hold you back. So the first step is to acknowledge them. Look at them clearly and honestly. Don't pretend they aren't there. Don't sugarcoat them or tell yourself that they don't matter. If you have a fear of failure, face it. If you struggle with procrastination, admit it. If you have trouble with self-discipline, own it. These aren't flaws that define your worth as a person, but they are barriers that stand in your way. If you want to move forward, if you want to change your life, you have to face those barriers and work on them every single day. This isn't a one-time thing. This isn't something you address once and then move on from. This is an ongoing process, a daily commitment to improving yourself. You don't fix weaknesses overnight, but you can make progress. The key is consistency. You have to commit to facing your weaknesses daily, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels easier to ignore them. It's in those moments when you want to look away that growth happens. That's when you become stronger. You don't get stronger by avoiding discomfort. You get stronger by leaning into it. Strength comes from working on your weaknesses, one day at a time. And here's the truth. When you start facing your weaknesses, you'll be amazed at how much power you actually have over them. Many of our weaknesses are like monsters under the bed. They seem massive, intimidating, and impossible to overcome. But when you shine a light on them, you realize they're smaller than they appear. Procrastination is a perfect example. If you constantly put things off, you might feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of work that needs to be done. The task might seem impossible, but when you break it down, when you tackle it piece by piece, suddenly it's not so overwhelming. The trick isn't to expect perfection from yourself. The trick is to start, to make progress, to show up and do the work even when it feels hard. One thing you need to realize is that weakness doesn't disappear just because you want it to. Just because you wish you were better at something doesn't make it magically happen. Improvement takes effort, and it takes time. But with every effort you put in, with every small step you take, you're getting closer to the person you want to be. If you struggle with discipline, for example, the only way to improve it is through consistent action. It's through doing the things you don't feel like doing and sticking to your commitments even when it's hard. Discipline is built by doing the hard things daily, and each time you push yourself, you're strengthening that muscle. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It sounds hard. It sounds exhausting. But let me tell you something. Nothing worth having in life comes easy. The rewards that come from facing your weaknesses head on are far greater than the momentary discomfort of working through them. When you conquer a weakness, when you turn it into a strength, you are building confidence. You are proving to yourself that you are capable of far more than you thought. Each day you commit to working on your weaknesses, you're showing up for yourself in a way that no one else can. You're taking control of your future and reshaping your life, one small step at a time. But here's the real secret. The more you face your weaknesses, the more you discover about your own strength. There's a power inside of you that you haven't even begun to tap into. You have a resilience that you don't yet fully understand. When you push yourself past what feels comfortable, when you refuse to back down in the face of difficulty, you start to see just how much you can handle. You start to see that those weaknesses are just temporary roadblocks that you can overcome. And every time you do, you become stronger, smarter, and more capable. You may feel like you've failed in the past, like you've tried to change and it didn't work. But let me remind you, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. When you face your weaknesses and work on them every day, you will encounter failure. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's a necessary thing. Failure teaches you where you need to improve, and it shows you how far you've come. It's proof that you are moving forward. When you try, when you put in the work, and when you fail, you learn. And in that learning, you grow. The key here is persistence. You can't give up after one setback. You can't let it be an excuse to quit. Instead, you use it as a stepping stone. You see it as an opportunity to improve. And the more you keep facing your weaknesses, the less they have control over you. Slowly but surely, you begin to feel empowered, capable, and ready to take on whatever comes next. It's important to remember that change doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens when you start with small, consistent steps. You don't need to fix everything at once. If you're working on your weaknesses, focus on one area at a time. Pick one thing you want to improve and dedicate yourself to working on it every day. As you improve in one area, you'll start to see progress in other areas too. Each small victory gives you momentum, and soon you'll find that the weaknesses you once struggled with aren't so intimidating anymore. But here's the truth. Working on your weaknesses isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about growing as a person. It's about pushing yourself to become the best version of yourself. It's about realizing that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. And when you see yourself improving, when you look back and realize how far you've come, you'll feel a sense of pride and accomplishment that nothing else can match. So take responsibility for your weaknesses. Stop running from them and start facing them head on. Make a daily commitment to work on them. And remember, progress doesn't happen overnight. It happens little by little, step by step. And one day you'll look back and realize that the weaknesses you once feared no longer control you. They've become your greatest strengths, and that's how you change your life, by facing your weaknesses every day and working on them with courage and persistence. It's time to stop letting your weaknesses define you. Start today. Take the first step and commit to becoming better, stronger, and more capable than ever before. Because when you face your weaknesses head on and work on them every day, you unlock the potential inside of you and you begin to live the life you've always dreamed of. Number 3, start right now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. There's one thing that keeps so many people from achieving their dreams, and that is the belief that they must wait for the perfect moment to begin. It's the idea that everything needs to fall into place before you take action. You need the right time, the right opportunity, the right circumstances. But let me tell you something. There is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is an illusion. If you keep waiting for it, you'll be waiting forever. Life will never hand you a perfect moment. You have to create it. The truth is, the best time to start is right now. You may not feel ready. You may not have everything figured out, but none of that matters. You can't wait until everything is lined up just the way you want it. That's not how success works. It works by taking the first step, even when you don't have the full picture. It's about starting with what you have, where you are, and making progress from there. I get it. You're waiting for the right moment. You're waiting for the stars to align, for the perfect conditions to arrive. You're waiting for everything to feel just right before you take action. But here's the thing. Waiting won't get you anywhere. It will only keep you stuck, frustrated, and unfulfilled. It will prevent you from moving forward and doing what you know you need to do. If you want to change your life, if you want to move forward, you have to start now. Even if it's messy, even if it's not perfect. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Life is never going to hand you a perfect scenario to start. In fact, waiting for the perfect moment often leads to procrastination. The longer you wait, the more reasons you'll find to put it off. You'll convince yourself that now isn't the right time. You'll tell yourself that you need more information, more experience, more preparation. But the truth is, if you keep waiting for everything to be just right, you'll never take action. Starting right now, no matter what, is the only way to make progress. When you take the first step, when you take action in spite of feeling unprepared, you begin to create momentum. Momentum is what keeps you moving forward. It's what turns a small action into a bigger one. And before you know it, you're on your way to where you want to be. But it all starts with that first step, the one you take today. I'm not saying you shouldn't plan. Planning is important, but it shouldn't paralyze you. You can spend all your time planning, and you'll never actually do anything. Planning gives you direction, but action gets you closer to your goal. You need to stop thinking that everything has to be perfect before you start. The truth is, when you start, you'll learn along the way. You'll make mistakes, you'll face challenges, and you'll stumble, but you will also grow. You'll gain experience, and you'll get better. You'll see opportunities that you couldn't see before. When you wait for the perfect moment, you miss out on all the lessons and experiences that come with the journey. Think about it for a moment. What if the most successful people in the world had waited for the perfect moment to start? What if they waited until everything was aligned? Until they had everything they needed? They never would have started. Instead, they made the decision to start, even when things weren't perfect, even when they didn't have it all figured out. They took the leap, and that's why they succeeded. They didn't wait for the right time. They created the right time. Starting right now also means letting go of fear. Fear of failure. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of not knowing where to begin. Fear is one of the biggest reasons people delay taking action. They fear making mistakes. Fear not being perfect. Fear what others might think. But let me tell you this, fear is just a signal that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that you're about to grow. Fear is a sign that you're on the edge of something big, something important. And that's exactly where you need to be. If you're not feeling at least a little nervous, a little unsure, then you're not pushing yourself enough. When you stop waiting for the perfect moment, you also stop letting fear control you. You stop allowing it to keep you stuck in the same place. You start taking action, in spite of fear. And when you do that, you take away its power. You begin to see that fear is not something to avoid, but something to embrace. It means you're on the right path. And here's the thing, the more you take action, the less you'll fear. The more you start, the more you learn, and the more you grow. The moment you make that first step, you start building confidence. Confidence comes from action, not from waiting. It comes from doing, from showing up, even when you're not sure what's going to happen. Confidence comes from trusting yourself to figure it out along the way. And the more you trust yourself, the easier it becomes to take the next step, and the next one after that. Now I want you to think about the dreams you have for your life. Where do you want to be? What do you want to accomplish? Now ask yourself this, if I don't start right now, where will I be in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years? Will you still be waiting for the perfect moment? Will you still be stuck in the same place, wishing you had started sooner? The truth is, if you don't start now, time will pass, and nothing will change. The only way to make a change is to take action. You don't have to have everything figured out to get started. You don't need all the answers, all the resources, or all the knowledge. What you need is the courage to take the first step. That's it. The rest will come as you go. You don't have to know everything right now. You just need to begin. You just need to make that decision and commit to taking action. And once you do, the next steps will become clearer. You'll learn, you'll grow, and you'll find your way. Starting right now is the key to breaking free from the cycle of waiting. It's the key to breaking through your doubts, your fears, and your hesitation. You will never have a perfect moment, but you can create the right moment by deciding to take action now. So stop waiting for things to be perfect. Stop waiting for the right time. The right time is now. It's time to make the decision to start, to step out of the shadows of hesitation and into the light of action. It's time to take that first step, even when it feels uncertain, because the only way to create the life you want, the only way to make progress, is to start. So start today. Don't wait another second. Start now, and the perfect moment will be the one you create through your actions. Number 4, eliminate distractions and focus on what truly matters. We live in a world filled with distractions. Every single day we are bombarded with things that pull our attention in every direction. Social media, news, messages, emails, notifications, and even well-meaning people all compete for our time and focus. The problem is, most of these distractions keep us from doing the things that truly matter. They keep us stuck in a cycle of reacting instead of creating, of consuming instead of producing. And as a result, we find ourselves drifting further and further away from the goals and dreams we say we want to achieve. So how do we fix this? How do we eliminate distractions and focus on what truly matters. The first step is recognizing just how much of our attention is wasted every day. We think we're multitasking, that we're getting a lot done, but in reality, we're spreading ourselves thin. We're jumping from one thing to another without ever fully committing to anything. It's like trying to run a race while constantly looking over your shoulder. You'll never move as fast, you'll never get ahead, and you'll miss out on what truly matters. Here's the hard truth. Distractions are a choice. They're not something that just happen to us. We choose them. Every time we pick up our phone, every time we check our email or scroll through social media, we're choosing to divert our focus from what really matters. We're choosing to spend our time on things that don't move us forward. We're choosing to let outside forces control our attention instead of taking charge of it ourselves. But here's the good news. If you can choose distractions, you can also choose to eliminate them. You can take back your time and your focus and direct it toward what truly matters. To eliminate distractions, the first thing you need to do is get clear on your priorities. What are the things that matter most to you? What are the goals that you are working toward? What are the values that guide your life? Until you know what truly matters, it's impossible to focus on it. You'll get caught up in the noise and the chaos of daily life. And before you know it, hours, days, or even weeks will have passed without you making any real progress toward your goals. Get clear on your priorities. Take the time to sit down and really think about what's important to you. Write it down. Put it somewhere you can see it every day. Your priorities should be the filter through which you make all of your decisions. If something doesn't align with your priorities, if it doesn't move you toward your goals or support your values, then it's a distraction, and you need to eliminate it. Once you've identified what truly matters to you, it's time to take a hard look at your daily habits and routines. How much of your time is being spent on things that don't align with your priorities? How much of your time is being eaten up by distractions that don't move you closer to your goals? It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we need to be busy all the time. But busyness is not the same as productivity. You can be busy all day long and still not move the needle on what matters most. So how do you eliminate distractions? First, you need to be intentional about where you place your focus. Every day you should be making decisions about where you're going to invest your time and energy. And you should do so with a clear understanding of your priorities. If something doesn't align with your priorities, if it doesn't contribute to your goals or your values, then it's a distraction, and you need to let it go. Next, take a hard look at the environment you've created for yourself. Your physical space plays a huge role in your ability to focus. If your workspace is cluttered, if your phone is constantly buzzing with notifications, if you're surrounded by distractions, it's going to be much harder to stay focused. Take control of your environment. Clear out the clutter. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Create a space that is conducive to deep focus and concentration. When your environment supports your goals, it's easier to stay on track. Another key to eliminating distractions is learning to say no. Many of us are overwhelmed because we say yes to everything. We agree to do things that we don't really want to do, things that don't move us forward, simply because we don't want to disappoint others or because we feel like we should. But saying yes to everything means you're saying no to the things that matter most. It means you're spreading yourself thin and making it harder to focus on your true priorities. Learning to say no is an essential skill for eliminating distractions. You don't have to say yes to everything that comes your way. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You only have so much time and energy, and you need to protect it. The ability to focus also requires that you manage your time effectively. Time is your most valuable resource, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. So you have to be intentional with how you use it. Create a daily schedule that prioritizes your most important tasks. Set aside time for deep work, time when you can focus without interruptions. Schedule time for rest and recovery as well. When you manage your time intentionally, you're able to stay focused on what truly matters and eliminate distractions along the way. Now let's talk about technology. Technology is one of the biggest sources of distraction in our lives today. Our phones, computers, and social media are designed to capture our attention and keep us hooked. And while technology can be a powerful tool, it can also be a massive time waster if we're not careful. It's easy to get sucked into endless scrolling, checking emails or watching videos that don't serve us. But if you're serious about eliminating distractions, you need to set boundaries with technology. Turn off notifications. Put your phone on airplane mode when you need to focus. Set specific times during the day to check your emails and social media, and stick to those times. Don't let technology control your life. Use it as a tool to help you accomplish your goals, but don't let it hijack your attention and keep you from what truly matters. Finally, understand that distractions will always be there. Life is full of things that will try to pull your attention in different directions, but the key is learning to resist them. When you've gotten clear on your priorities and have taken the necessary steps to eliminate distractions, it becomes easier to stay focused. But it's a practice. It takes discipline, commitment, and daily effort. You have to keep reminding yourself of what matters most and stay true to your goals. Eliminating distractions doesn't mean cutting out everything that's fun or enjoyable. It means eliminating the things that are keeping you from being your best, from achieving your dreams, and from living a life aligned with your values. It means making a conscious decision every day to stay focused on what truly matters and to let go of the things that don't. When you do this, you not only improve your ability to focus, but you also begin to see more progress, more growth, and more fulfillment in your life. It's a decision that will transform the way you live and work. And it all starts with eliminating distractions and focusing on what truly matters. Number 5, break the cycle of procrastination and take immediate action. Procrastination is one of the most subtle and destructive habits that keeps people stuck in their lives. It often starts innocently enough, just putting things off for a short while, telling yourself you'll start tomorrow, or thinking that you'll get to it when the time is right. But here's the harsh truth, that tomorrow never comes. It keeps getting pushed further and further into the future. And before you know it, weeks, months, or even years have passed, and you're still in the same spot. The cycle of procrastination is like quicksand. The longer you stay in it, the deeper you sink. You've probably experienced it yourself. You know what you need to do. You know the actions you should take, but somehow you find a way to avoid them. You distract yourself with anything but what you know is important, and then the guilt sets in. The frustration, the feeling that you're falling behind, that you're wasting time, that you're not living up to your potential. It's a vicious cycle that can paralyze you if you don't break it. But breaking the cycle of procrastination is possible. It requires a shift in mindset, an understanding of why you procrastinate in the first place, and a commitment to take immediate action. The first step is realizing that procrastination is not just about laziness. It's often a symptom of fear, perfectionism, or overwhelm. Many people procrastinate because they're afraid of failing. They fear that if they start something, they won't do it perfectly, so they put it off until they feel ready. But here's the truth. Perfectionism is just another form of procrastination. It's an excuse. The only way to overcome that fear of failure is to take action, no matter how small. When you let perfectionism dictate your actions, you paralyze yourself with the belief that you need everything to be perfect before you start. But here's the reality. Nothing is ever perfect. You will never have all the answers, and you will never be fully prepared. The key is starting. Even if you don't know all the steps, even if you don't have everything figured out, the act of starting is what begins to unravel the fear and anxiety that comes with procrastination. The second reason people procrastinate is that they feel overwhelmed. When a task or a goal seems too big or too complicated, it's easy to shut down and avoid it altogether. You look at everything you need to do, and it feels like too much. But this is another cycle you need to break. Overwhelm comes from focusing on everything at once. Instead of breaking the task down into manageable pieces, you see the whole picture, and it becomes paralyzing. To break free from this, you need to learn how to take one step at a time. Focus on the very next thing you need to do, not the entire project or goal. Just start with a small action, no matter how insignificant it seems. Starting small helps you gain momentum, and once you're in motion, it becomes easier to keep going. When you're working through your goals, break them down into smaller tasks. Focus on completing one task before moving on to the next. With each task you complete, the feeling of overwhelm will start to fade, and you'll build the confidence you need to keep going. Another reason people procrastinate is because they're not clear on their goals. When you don't know exactly what you're working toward, it's easy to put things off. Without a clear vision, it's hard to see the value in taking action. That's why having clear, specific goals is so important. When you know exactly what you're working toward, it becomes much easier to prioritize your time and energy. Without clear goals, everything feels urgent, and you end up chasing your tail. But with clear goals, you can focus on what matters and take immediate action to move toward them. One of the most powerful ways to break the cycle of procrastination is to simply decide to act. Stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting for the stars to align or for the perfect conditions. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The time to act is now. Commit to taking one small step and then take it. The key to overcoming procrastination is to take action before you're ready. Once you start, the rest will follow. The biggest hurdle is often getting started, so make it a point to take immediate action, even if it's a small, imperfect step. Another critical factor in breaking procrastination is creating an environment that supports action. Procrastination often thrives in an environment full of distractions. If your workspace is cluttered, if your phone is constantly buzzing with notifications, or if you're surrounded by distractions, it's much harder to stay focused and take action. Clean up your space, eliminate distractions, and create a productive environment. Turn off your phone, close unnecessary tabs on your computer, and set aside specific time blocks for focused work. The less you have to fight distractions, the easier it will be to stay focused and take immediate action. Accountability is another powerful tool in breaking the cycle of procrastination. When you tell someone else about your goals, or make a commitment to someone, you create a sense of responsibility. You don't want to let them down, and that can push you to take action. Share your goals with a friend, a colleague, or a mentor, and check in with them regularly. Accountability helps you stay on track and prevents you from slipping back into the cycle of procrastination. When you have someone to answer to, it becomes easier to push past the resistance and take the necessary steps to move forward. Lastly, you need to embrace failure. One of the biggest reasons people procrastinate is the fear of failure. They're afraid of making mistakes, of not getting things right. But failure is not the end. It's a learning opportunity. Failure is how we grow and improve. When you take action, even if it doesn't go perfectly, you learn. You learn what works and what doesn't. You refine your approach and become better over time. Failure is simply feedback. The more you embrace failure, the less power it has over you, and the more willing you become to take risks and take action. So how do you break the cycle of procrastination? It starts with understanding the root causes: fear, overwhelm, lack of clarity, and perfectionism. Once you identify the source, you can begin to take immediate action. Break your tasks down into smaller steps. Set clear and specific goals, and commit to starting, no matter how small the action is. Eliminate distractions, create an environment conducive to action, and surround yourself with accountability. Finally, embrace failure as part of the journey, and don't let the fear of it stop you from moving forward. The key to success is not in waiting for the perfect moment. It's in taking immediate action, right now, and breaking the cycle of procrastination once and for all. Every step you take today, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. Stop waiting. Start now, and the momentum will carry you to places you never thought possible. Number 6, cut out the negativity around you and stay focused. You've heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And while this statement can be taken in many different ways, one truth remains clear. The people you surround yourself with have an undeniable impact on the direction your life will take. If you want to succeed, you have to take a hard look at who and what is surrounding you and eliminate the negativity that holds you back. Negativity is toxic. It's like a slow poison that can seep into your thoughts, your actions, and your future. It's easy to dismiss it, to think it's not that big of a deal. But negativity adds up. It starts in small ways. One sarcastic remark here, one cynical thought there, one person telling you it's impossible to reach your goals. And before you know it, you're swimming in a sea of doubt, fear, and limitation. It drags you down, chips away at your confidence, and clouds your vision of the future. It's easy to think it's not a big deal, but the truth is, Negativity will hold you back more than anything else in your life. So what do you do about it? You have to start by cutting out the negativity around you. It's not enough to simply try to stay positive. You need to actively remove the sources of negativity from your life. If you want to stay focused on your goals, on your growth, on your success, you can't afford to keep feeding your mind with negative energy. Whether it's people who constantly complain, coworkers who don't believe in themselves or you, or even family members who tell you your dreams are unrealistic, you need to distance yourself from these sources of negativity. One of the hardest things to do is to distance yourself from people who are negative. These might be people you've known for years. They might be family members, friends, or colleagues. But the truth is, no matter how much you care about them, their negativity will continue to affect you if you allow it. Their limiting beliefs, their doubts, their pessimism will infiltrate your thoughts, and that will impact your actions. And when you allow it to seep into your life, you're no longer working toward your goals. Instead, you're working toward their limitations. This doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life entirely. You don't have to be rude or harsh, but you do have to create boundaries. You have to protect your energy. If someone is constantly telling you that what you're doing is impossible, or that you'll never make it, you need to distance yourself from those conversations. You need to create space for people who support you, who encourage you, who believe in what you're doing. Those are the people you need to be around, because they will lift you up, push you forward, and help you stay focused on what truly matters. Next, you need to start cutting out the negativity from the media and the content you consume. It's easy to get sucked into the news, social media, and other forms of entertainment that constantly broadcast negativity. The news cycle is full of bad news, fear, and anxiety. Social media is full of people complaining, arguing, and sharing negativity. If you spend all your time consuming this kind of content, it will start to affect your mindset. It will make you anxious, fearful, and doubtful. It will make you question your own ability to succeed. This doesn't mean you should completely shut yourself off from the world. You should stay informed, but be selective about what you allow into your mind. Choose to consume content that supports your growth, that inspires you, that teaches you something positive. If you find yourself constantly feeling drained, stressed, or frustrated after checking social media or watching the news, it's time to make some changes. Stop feeding your mind with negativity. Instead, choose to fill your mind with content that empowers you and pushes you toward your goals. One of the biggest sources of negativity in our lives comes from within. Our own self-talk can be just as damaging as the negativity we hear from others. We all have that inner voice that doubts us, criticizes us, and tells us we're not good enough. That voice is just as toxic as any negative person or situation, and it needs to be silenced if you want to stay focused on your goals. Cutting out negativity means recognizing and challenging the negative thoughts you have about yourself. When that voice tells you that you're not capable or that your dreams are unrealistic, you need to call it out for what it is: a lie. You are capable, you are worthy, you are more than capable of achieving your dreams. But you can't listen to that negative voice in your head. You have to drown it out with positive, empowering thoughts. Remind yourself every day of your worth, your capabilities, and your potential. This isn't about being arrogant or delusional. This is about believing in yourself and choosing to focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. To break free from the negativity, you need to take control of your thoughts and your environment. Start by surrounding yourself with positivity. Choose the people, content, and activities that encourage your growth, that help you stay focused, that remind you of your potential. The more you fill your life with positivity, the less room there is for negativity. And the more positive influence you have in your life, the more confident you'll become in yourself and your ability to achieve your goals. It's also important to remember that negativity isn't just something that comes from others or from the media. Sometimes it's our own habits and attitudes that hold us back. Negative habits, such as procrastination, perfectionism, or self-doubt, can create a cycle of negativity that keeps you stuck. If you want to stay focused on your goals, you need to break these habits. Recognize when you're falling into negative patterns of thinking or behavior, and actively choose to replace them with positive habits. For example, instead of procrastinating, take immediate action. Instead of doubting yourself, remind yourself of your past successes and strengths.
The more you replace negative habits with positive ones, the more focused and determined you'll become. Staying focused on what truly matters requires discipline. It requires making a conscious choice every day to protect your mind, your time, and your energy from negative influences. It requires setting boundaries with people, limiting your exposure to negative media, and being intentional about the content you consume. It requires challenging your own negative thoughts and replacing them with positive affirmations. And it requires taking action every day toward your goals, even when the negativity around you tries to pull you off course. But here's the beautiful part. The more you cut out negativity, the stronger, more focused you become. The more you protect your energy and your mindset, the more your confidence will grow, and the more you stay focused on your goals, the closer you will get to achieving them. You'll begin to see progress, and that progress will motivate you to keep going. You'll be amazed at how much more you can accomplish when you're no longer weighed down by negativity. So take a hard look at your life. Who or what is holding you back? Who or what is bringing negativity into your world? And what can you do to eliminate it? Start by setting clear boundaries. Protect your energy. Fill your life with positivity, and make the choice to stay focused on what truly matters. The world will always throw distractions and negativity at you, but it's up to you to decide whether you let it control you. You have the power to stay focused, to stay positive, and to stay on. And when you do, you'll find that nothing can stop you from reaching your goals.
Number 7, make a commitment to yourself and stick with it. Making a commitment to yourself is one of the most powerful decisions you can ever make. It's about setting a standard for your life and holding yourself to it. In a world that constantly tries to pull us in different directions, making a commitment to yourself gives you the foundation, the strength, and the discipline to stay focused on what matters most. It's easy to commit to other people's goals, desires, and expectations. But the real question is, will you commit to your own success, growth, and happiness? Most people fail to achieve their full potential because they never truly commit to themselves. They commit to their jobs, their families, their friends, and even their obligations. But when it comes to their own personal growth, they allow excuses, distractions, and doubts to get in the way. A commitment to yourself means setting clear intentions for your life and following through with them, regardless of the obstacles or challenges that may arise. It means showing up for yourself every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when things are tough, and even when it feels easier to take the path of least resistance. To make a real commitment to yourself, you must first get clear on what you truly want. What are your goals? What do you want to achieve in life? What kind of person do you want to become? The clearer your vision, the easier it will be to make that commitment and stick to it. Without clarity, you're just drifting, reacting to life, instead of actively shaping it. The more you know about what you truly want, the more committed you can be to making it a reality. Once you have clarity, you need to align your daily actions with that vision. This is where the commitment becomes real. It's not enough to simply want something, you have to work toward it every day, every moment. This requires discipline. Discipline is the muscle that turns commitment into action. It's the ability to keep going when motivation wanes, when life gets tough, and when things don't go according to plan. The truth is, commitment isn't always glamorous. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment to start. It's about making the decision and sticking to it, day after day. It's about pushing through the challenges, even when they seem insurmountable. And it's about learning to embrace the uncomfortable, because growth only happens outside of your comfort zone. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by being comfortable. They got there by committing to their vision and making that commitment non-negotiable. But here's the kicker. Commitment isn't always easy. There will be days when you feel like giving up. There will be moments when you question whether it's worth it. There will be times when the obstacles seem too big and the progress too slow. But that's the moment where true commitment is tested. Will you give in, or will you push through? The key is to recognize that the tough moments are part of the journey. They're the moments where you build resilience, where you develop character, and where you get closer to your ultimate goal. Making a commitment to yourself also means developing self-accountability. It's easy to break commitments to others, but breaking a commitment to yourself is where the real damage happens. When you break promises to yourself,
you erode your self-confidence and weaken your ability to trust your own word. It's a dangerous cycle. The more you break commitments to yourself, the easier it becomes to do it again and again. But when you hold yourself accountable, when you honor your commitments, you build unshakable confidence. You begin to trust yourself and your ability to follow through. And that confidence is the foundation of success in any area of your life. Another aspect of commitment is resilience. Life is unpredictable, and things will not always go as planned. There will be setbacks, mistakes, and failures along the way. But your commitment to yourself must remain unwavering, even when things don't go your way. Every failure is simply an opportunity to learn and grow. Every setback is a lesson in resilience. When you remain committed, you learn how to bounce back from challenges stronger than before. The more you commit to yourself, the more you start to believe in your ability to achieve anything. Your belief in yourself becomes the driving force that propels you towards success. And that belief isn't built on motivation alone. It's built on the habits, routines, and actions that you take every day. Motivation comes and goes, but commitment is the steady force that keeps you on track. It's the fuel that keeps the engine running when the road gets tough. Commitment also means consistency. Success is not built on occasional bursts of effort. It's built on consistent, everyday actions. Whether it's working on your business, getting better at a skill, or improving your health, it's the small, consistent steps that lead to big results. If you only commit to your goals sporadically, you'll never see the results you want. The key to success is showing up every day, putting in the work, and not allowing distractions, laziness, or setbacks to derail you. Another important part of commitment is setting boundaries. You need to protect your time and energy from things that distract you or pull you away from your goals. When you make a commitment to yourself, you need to be intentional about where you place your focus. If something doesn't align with your vision or your goals, you have to be willing to say no. Saying no is an important part of staying committed. It means that you respect your time, your energy, and your goals enough to guard them from distractions and negative influences. Making a commitment to yourself also requires that you be patient. Success takes time, and you have to be willing to put in the work for the long haul. You can't expect overnight results. If you're committed to your goals, you need to understand that progress is a process. It's a journey, not a destination. But every step you take, no matter how small, gets you closer to where you want to be. The key is to keep going, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Trust that your commitment will pay off in the end. Ultimately, the most important part of making a commitment to yourself is that it's a decision you make every single day. You have to wake up each day and choose to honor your commitments. You have to decide, every morning, that today will be a day you show up for yourself, and then you do it, no matter what. When you keep making that decision, day after day, your commitment to yourself becomes a habit. It becomes part of who you are. And when it becomes part of who you are, success is inevitable. So ask yourself, are you willing to make that commitment to yourself? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to honor your goals, your dreams, and your vision for your life? If you are, then there's nothing that can stop you. Commit to yourself fully, and watch how everything in your life begins to shift. When you make a real commitment, and you follow through with it, you become unstoppable. You become the person who gets things done. You become the person who achieves their goals, who builds the life they've always dreamed of. And it all starts with one decision. Commit to yourself and stick with it.
Number 8, challenge your comfort zone and push past the fear. Comfort zones are dangerous. They create a false sense of security that tricks you into believing that staying in one place is the best option. It feels safe, predictable, and easy. But here's the truth. Nothing ever grows inside a comfort zone. In fact, the more time you spend there, the more you miss out on the opportunities, the experiences, and the growth that come from stepping outside of it. We all have fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. But what most people don't realize is that fear is not something to avoid. It's something to push past. Fear is simply a signal that you're on the verge of something important. It's an indicator that you're pushing up against your limits. And that's where real growth happens. Growth happens when you challenge yourself, when you step outside your comfort zone, and when you face your fears head on. We've all heard the phrase comfort zone, But how many of us truly understand its impact? Comfort zones are designed to keep us where we are, to prevent us from taking risks, trying new things, and ultimately growing. They tell us that where we are is good enough, but the truth is, good enough is never enough if you want to achieve your highest potential. A comfort zone keeps you stuck in the same patterns, the same routines, and the same small ways of thinking. It confines you to a narrow perspective that limits your ability to see the vast opportunities waiting outside. But here's the secret. Growth doesn't happen in the comfortable. You don't get better, stronger, or more successful by staying in a place that feels safe. Success and personal growth require stepping into the unknown, doing things that scare you, and embracing the challenges that come with trying something new. When you challenge your comfort zone, you break free from the limitations it has imposed on you, and you open the door to new possibilities. The first step in challenging your comfort zone is recognizing that fear is not a sign to retreat, but a sign to move forward. When we feel fear, we often want to run the other way. It's instinctive. But if you want to achieve something great, you have to fight against that natural urge to stay comfortable. You have to remind yourself that fear is a part of the process. The fear you feel is a signal that you're on the edge of something important. It's your brain's way of telling you that you're about to push past your boundaries and grow. Fear doesn't go away. The more you face it, the more it becomes something you learn to manage. It doesn't disappear overnight, but with every step you take, it becomes more manageable. The key to pushing past fear is not to wait for it to disappear before you act. You act in spite of the fear. You move forward, even when your mind tells you to stop. You take that first step, even when you're unsure of the outcome. That's how you break through. When you challenge your comfort zone, it's important to take small, manageable steps at first. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the idea of doing something big and bold, but the reality is that change happens in increments. You don't have to leap from one extreme to another overnight. Small steps lead to big transformations over time. The key is consistency. Take one step toward discomfort every day, and soon discomfort won't feel so scary anymore. You'll start to build the resilience and the courage you need to tackle even bigger challenges. Another important part of challenging your comfort zone is reframing failure. When we step out of our comfort zones, we inevitably encounter failure. We try something new, and it doesn't work. We face setbacks, and we make mistakes. But failure is not a reflection of your worth or ability. It's a part of the learning process. Each failure is an opportunity to grow stronger, smarter, and more capable. When you reframe failure as a lesson, instead of a setback, you give yourself permission to keep going, to keep trying, and to keep challenging your comfort zone. Pushing past fear and comfort also means letting go of perfectionism. Many people avoid taking risks because they feel they have to do things perfectly. They want everything to be just right before they take action. But perfectionism is the enemy of progress. Perfectionism keeps you stuck, waiting for conditions to be perfect before you begin. But the truth is, conditions are rarely perfect. You'll never feel fully prepared or fully ready. The only way to move forward is to take imperfect action. Each time you take action, even if it's not perfect, you're moving forward. You're stretching yourself beyond what you thought possible. And as you continue to challenge yourself, you'll begin to realize that you are far more capable than you ever imagined. You'll see that you can handle challenges, that you can overcome obstacles, and that you are strong enough to deal with whatever comes your way. In order to push past fear and break free from your comfort zone, you need to start viewing discomfort differently. Instead of seeing discomfort as something to avoid, you need to see it as an opportunity. Discomfort means that you are growing. It means that you're challenging yourself to become better, stronger, and more capable. The more you push yourself to do things that scare you, the more you'll expand your limits. You'll develop new skills, build your confidence, and discover strengths you never knew you had. The key to challenging your comfort zone is to make it a habit. Every day, find something that challenges you. Whether it's a small action or a bigger leap, make it a daily practice to push yourself outside your comfort zone. As you do this consistently, you'll notice that fear loses its power over you. You'll become more comfortable with discomfort, and you'll begin to realize that the things you once feared are not nearly as intimidating as they seemed. You'll start to see challenges as opportunities to grow rather than obstacles to avoid. The more you embrace the discomfort of stepping outside your comfort zone, the more you'll build the resilience to handle whatever comes your way. You'll develop a mindset that says, I am capable of doing hard things. You'll understand that the only way to achieve greatness is to embrace the fear,
push through it, and take consistent action toward your goals. And over time, you'll build a life that reflects your courage, your determination, and your willingness to challenge yourself. Remember, growth is not easy. It's not always comfortable, but it's always worth it. When you push past fear and challenge your comfort zone, you open up a world of possibilities. You start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You start to feel empowered by your own actions. You become someone who doesn't shrink away from challenges, but embraces them. And in doing so, you unlock your true potential, and you become unstoppable in the pursuit of your dreams.
Number 9, recognize your patterns and change the ones that hold you back. Your life today is the result of your past decisions, habits, and patterns. Every action you've taken, every choice you've made, and even your repeated thought patterns have led you to where you are now. Patterns are powerful. They shape how you act, how you think, and how you ultimately move through life. But not all patterns are productive. In fact, many of us have ingrained habits and behaviors that hold us back, stopping us from reaching our full potential. The key to breaking through to the next level in your life is recognizing those patterns and having the courage to change the ones that are holding you back. Patterns are formed over time, and they often become so ingrained that we don't even realize they're there. We repeat them without thinking, and we often do so automatically. Whether it's the way we approach challenges, how we manage our time, or the way we react to stress, we develop patterns based on our past experiences. These patterns can serve us well when they help us progress, but they can also trap us in cycles of behavior that prevent us from growing. The first step to breaking these patterns is awareness. You cannot change something that you don't even recognize. Start by observing your own behavior, your thoughts, and your reactions to the events in your life. Pay attention to the moments when you feel stuck, frustrated, or defeated. What led you to that point? What were you thinking? What decisions did you make? What actions did you take? Often these moments are clues that reveal the patterns at play. For example, think about how you react when things don't go as planned. Do you tend to give up easily, or do you push through? Do you get overwhelmed and procrastinate, or do you take immediate action? These patterns reveal how you approach challenges in your life. If you consistently react by avoiding tasks, procrastinating, or doubting yourself, then you are stuck in a pattern that will continue to limit your progress. Another pattern many people struggle with is negative self-talk. You might not even realize it, but the way you talk to yourself shapes your reality. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough or that you'll never succeed, then that becomes the story you believe about yourself. Negative self-talk holds you back from taking risks, stepping outside your comfort zone, and going after what you really want. But once you recognize this pattern, you can begin to change it. Instead of telling yourself that you're not capable, start saying things like, "I can handle this," or "I am worthy of success." You'll be amazed at how your actions start to align with these new, more empowering beliefs. Recognizing your patterns is a critical step, but it's only the first part of the process. Once you identify the patterns that are holding you back, you need to make a conscious decision to change them. This isn't easy, and it won't happen overnight. Breaking old patterns takes time, effort, and commitment, but it is entirely possible. And it starts with taking responsibility for your actions and decisions. Take a close look at the habits that you've developed over time. These habits are often deeply ingrained, and you may have been practicing them for years. Whether they're related to how you manage your time, how you react to stress, or how you approach your work, these habits have become second nature. But they are not set in stone. You can rewrite your story, and you can break free from these limiting habits. The key is consistency. When you commit to breaking a pattern, don't expect to change everything at once. Start with one small change. Focus on one habit or pattern that you want to break, and take small, deliberate actions to change it. For example, if you find that you tend to procrastinate when faced with big tasks, start by taking small, immediate steps toward getting started. Don't wait for motivation, just act. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, take that first step. Over time, you'll begin to build momentum, and the pattern of procrastination will lose its power over you. As you work to change your patterns, it's important to be kind to yourself. The process of breaking free from old habits and behaviors can be challenging. You'll face setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when it feels like you're not making progress. But remember, change is a journey,
not a destination. Every small step you take toward breaking an old pattern is progress. Celebrate the wins, no matter how small, and don't get discouraged by setbacks. It's also essential to replace old limiting patterns with new, empowering habits. Simply trying to stop a negative pattern isn't enough. You need to replace it with something that moves you forward. If you're trying to break a pattern of procrastination, for instance, replace it with a habit of taking immediate action. If you're trying to stop negative self-talk, replace it with positive affirmations. The key is not just to eliminate something negative, but to replace it with something positive and productive. Accountability is another powerful tool in changing your patterns. When you have someone to check in with, someone who is rooting for you and holding you accountable, it becomes easier to stay on track. Share your goals and progress with a friend, a mentor, or a colleague. Let them know what patterns you're working to change, and ask them to check in with you regularly. Having someone to support you in this process can make a world of difference. Your environment plays a significant role in your ability to change your patterns. If you want to break free from old habits, you need to surround yourself with people, places, and things that support your growth. This might mean spending less time with people who reinforce negative behaviors or situations that trigger unproductive patterns. It might mean cleaning up your physical environment to reduce distractions, or creating a more organized space to encourage better habits. The more you align your environment with your goals, the easier it will be to make lasting changes. As you continue to recognize and change your patterns, you'll start to notice significant improvements in your life. You'll feel more in control, more empowered, and more confident in your ability to achieve your goals. Breaking free from old patterns opens up a world of possibilities. You'll see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You'll take action when you once hesitated, and you'll begin to build the life you've always wanted, one conscious decision at a time. The key to transforming your life is recognizing the patterns that hold you back and having the courage to change them. It's not easy, but it is worth it. You have the power to change your habits, to rewrite your story, and to become the person you were always meant to be. Start today. Take the first step toward breaking the patterns that no longer serve you, and commit to creating new, empowering habits that will propel you toward the life you desire. Change begins with awareness, but it's the actions you take afterward that will shape your future.
Number 10, own your decisions and stop making excuses for yourself. There comes a time in everyone's life when they must face a simple but profound truth. The life you're living is the result of your own choices. It's easy to point fingers, to look at others, or to blame circumstances. But the truth is that you have made the decisions that have brought you to where you are today. Whether those decisions were conscious or unconscious, whether they were good or bad, they are yours. And the moment you fully accept that your life is a reflection of your decisions, is the moment you gain the power to change it. Many people spend their lives making excuses. They blame their past, their upbringing, the people around them, or even bad luck for why things aren't working out. They tell themselves that if only the circumstances were different, if only they had more money, more support, or more time, they could achieve their dreams. But here's the hard truth. Excuses are just that, excuses. They are stories we tell ourselves to avoid taking responsibility, to avoid making the tough choices that would move us forward. Excuses keep us trapped in a cycle of self-pity and inaction. They strip us of our power and hold us back from reaching our potential. But here's the good news. When you stop making excuses and own your decisions, everything changes. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and become the creator of your life. You stop letting the past define you and take control of your future. The power is in your hands, but you have to own it. This is not about blaming yourself for everything that's happened, but about taking full responsibility for how you respond to it. Owning your decisions means acknowledging that everything you do, every action you take, is a result of your choices. If you are unhappy with where you are in life, ask yourself, what choices have I made that have led me here? And more importantly, what choices can I make right now to change it? This is where real growth begins. It starts with an honest, sometimes uncomfortable, assessment of the choices you've been making. But it's in this honesty that you can begin to make different, more empowering decisions. Too often we allow ourselves to make excuses. We convince ourselves that we're doing the best we can, that we don't have the resources or the time, or that we're waiting for the right moment. But what happens when we wait? What happens when we keep telling ourselves that we're not ready, that we'll try again tomorrow, or that someone else will come along and solve our problems for us? We stay stuck. We stay exactly where we are, and we keep repeating the same patterns, the same behaviors, and the same excuses. To stop making excuses, you have to stop waiting for perfect conditions. The truth is, there will never be a perfect moment to take action. Conditions will never align exactly the way you want them to. You will never feel completely ready, and you will never have all the answers. But that's okay. The only way to move forward is to make a decision and take action, even when it's not perfect. When you own your decisions, you realize that the journey is more important than the destination. It's the decisions you make along the way that shape who you become. One of the biggest excuses people make is the fear of failure. We tell ourselves that we're not going to try something because we might fail. But the reality is that failure is a part of the process. Failure is not the end, it's feedback. Every time you fail, you learn something valuable. You learn what doesn't work, and you get closer to finding what does. The key is not to let failure stop you, but to use it as fuel for growth. When you own your decisions, you stop fearing failure, and instead you embrace it as an essential part of your success. The act of taking responsibility for your decisions also means being accountable to yourself. It means no longer waiting for external validation or for someone else to tell you what to do. It means trusting yourself enough to make decisions, even when they are difficult or unpopular. It means being willing to stand by those decisions, even when the going gets tough. When you own your decisions, you take full control of your life, and you stop letting outside influences dictate your actions. Another common excuse people make is not having enough time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, and yet many of us feel overwhelmed by how much we have to do. The key is not about finding more time, but about managing the time you have. It's about setting priorities and making time for what matters most. When you take ownership of your decisions, you stop wasting time on things that don't serve your goals. You stop getting distracted by the things that take you away from your purpose. Instead, you start focusing on the actions that move you forward. It's also important to recognize that when you stop making excuses, you stop being at the mercy of your emotions. Too often, we make decisions based on how we feel in the moment. We procrastinate because we don't feel like doing something, or we avoid taking action because we feel scared or unsure. But feelings are fleeting. They come and go. If you make decisions based solely on your emotions, you'll find that you're constantly in a cycle of indecision and inaction. The key is to stop letting your feelings dictate your decisions. Instead, make decisions based on your values, your goals, and your vision for your life. When you own your decisions, you learn to trust your judgment and take action, even when your emotions are telling you to do otherwise. Taking responsibility for your life also means forgiving yourself. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has regrets. But when you hold on to past mistakes, you let them define you. You give them power over your present and your future. Forgiving yourself is essential for moving forward. It means letting go of the past, learning from it, and choosing to move on. It means making the decision to stop carrying the weight of your past mistakes and instead using them as stepping stones for growth. When you stop making excuses and start owning your decisions, you will start to see changes in your life. You will become more confident in your ability to make choices and take action. You will begin to break free from the cycles of doubt and indecision that have held you back. You will stop waiting for things to change and start creating the life you want. You will stop being a victim of your circumstances and become the creator of your reality. So ask yourself, what decisions have you been avoiding? What excuses have you been telling yourself that are holding you back? Now is the time to stop. Own your decisions, take responsibility for your actions, and stop making excuses. The life you want is waiting for you, but it will only come when you decide to take full ownership of your choices and make the commitment to move forward. No matter what, your future is in your hands. What will you do with it? Now that you've got the tools and the mindset to fix what's not working in your life, it's time to take action. Remember, change doesn't happen by thinking about it. It happens by doing it. The decisions you make today will shape your tomorrow, and it all starts with owning those decisions, breaking the patterns, and pushing through the fear.
If you've learned something today, take that first step right now. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because that moment is now. And if you want to keep this momentum going, I encourage you to come back, because the journey doesn't end here. There's so much more to explore, and every step you take will bring you closer to the life you've been wanting. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is just the beginning, and there's so much more to come. Your best self is waiting for you, and I can't wait to help you get there. Keep going, stay focused, and keep showing up for yourself. The next chapter starts today.